Hi, Pastor Nathan Decker with your hashtag Better Together Devotion. Remember to click like, share, and all those buttons below. I've wondered about a quote that I read recently, and it really has caused me to think differently about who we are as human beings. There's two quotes, actually. One's from Charlie Chaplin, yes, the silent movie star and comedian. The other has to do with the things that Neil Armstrong talked about after he looked at the planet, at Earth. They call it the overview effect. And what that is that when you get so far away from the world, you begin looking at Earth from a totally different perspective. You begin looking at human beings from a different perspective. I had this happen to me. I went skydiving, and when went skydiving, and I was 2.5 miles up and jumped out of an airplane, the world looks so beautiful. And even after I landed, like what Neil Armstrong talks about and speaks about, I saw human beings in a different way. I didn't see so much of the brokenness or the hurt. I saw them as hurting people who needed love. There was this connectedness that I desired. And Charlie Chaplin actually has a quote that really sums up this overview effect in a beautiful way. He says that, when you zoom in, life is a tragedy. Life is tremendously a tragedy. But when you get the more wide angle, when you back up, when you zoom out, you find that life is a comedy. When we focus on the details, the nitty-gritty, when we focus on the pain and the brokenness, when we look at the 5 o'clock news or whatever news you're looking at online, and you say, oh, it's all bad news, it's all going, it reinforces this detailed look of the perspective of pain and just the world's going to hell in a handbasket. But when we back up, when we zoom out, maybe when we take a God perspective, the way that God sees us, we are all God's children. We all are part of a unique moment. We are all here now, and we're all in this together. The person who's polluting and the person who's tree hugging are on the same globe. And both of them want to make the world successful somehow. They just have different views of the way you're doing it. When we have an overview effect, when we take a step back, we get, I think, what Jesus was doing every time he went up on the mountain alone, every time he went off to pray alone. We get a mindfulness about what life is really about, what is important in this world, and how we treat one another, how we care for one another, becomes much more important than some of the political fights we have, or disagreements we might have, or even differences of opinion. Again, we start seeing ourselves as a part of the human tribe, and our tribalistic behavior diminishes. It doesn't mean that we stop being a part of different tribes. No, we're still going to be unique. There are still wonderful, beautiful, diverse things that are uniquely about me, you, and everyone else. But the way we see each other, the way we hear each other, and the way we care for each other begins changing. I think we all should get a trip to outer space, to look back at this blue marble that we live on and find ourselves in a place when we get back to Earth, realizing and recognizing just how big and how insignificant some things are. When we put the right things in the right priorities, life is better together. Zoom out, not in, on the details of pain. Instead, zoom out on the beauty of humanity. Amen.